Yes. Can we start?
Yes,
Can
Ari,
you,
you can go ahead. Thank you.
thank you
Yeah.
very much. You can mute. The host. Thank you very much. Um, I'm going to bring up. We have two moderators today that will be up, Madam Ajoke. Thank you everybody once again. It's another weekend where we preach the message of Yoruba self-preservation, where we preach the message of Yoruba geopolitics, where we preach the message of Yoruba Renaissance, where we preach the study world event, where we enlighten ourselves, where we discuss politics of West Africa, of Nigeria, of Benin Republic. I'm the president of Think Yoruba First organization. And on behalf of Think Yoruba First organization, all our friends, our supporters, our financiers, our lovers, whether you are Yoruba or not, we greet you all in the name of Olodumare. Thank you everybody once again. We've been doing this for over a year. This is close to 2 years of this lecture every Saturday, every weekend. If you want to actually get access to our lectures, just go to YouTube. You are going to on Spotify. Just put in Think Yoruba First. You are going to see our previous lectures there, both the longer versions and the short ones. Every lecture we've had so far so good is on these platforms. We have just around 400 plus subscribers on our YouTube page. We hope if you go to our YouTube page on Think Yoruba First, we hope you can push us to 1,000 subscribers. I know a lot of people would have missed some of our lectures, but you can go to those places and really partake and really play it when you're at work, when you are driving, when you are in your room. You know, we're on Spotify, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. We'll be very, very happy if you can just do us the favor to like all those platforms. And also, if you are just here, kindly invite your friends, your family, let them listen to these lectures, because we need to, especially for the people of Southwest, for the people of Yoruba land, we need to teach our people geopolitics. We need to teach them politics, the kind of politics that is happening in Nigeria, so that our people are going to be alive to their responsibilities. Like we've said, Nigeria is not a nation, but a country of ethnic nations. Like we've said, Nigeria is not a melting pot. Nigeria is not a no man's land. The Igbo have Igbo land. Hausa have Hausa land. Ijaw people have Ijaw land. Yoruba people have Yoruba land. The problem in Nigeria is that there are some sections of Nigeria that want to expand within Nigeria. There are some sections in Nigeria that want to build an empire within Nigeria. There are some sections in Nigeria that believe they can use Nigeria to build hegemony. So everybody, especially between even the ethnic minorities that people call ethnic minorities, are trying to impose their own identity on Nigeria. And that is why Nigeria is at war. Whether you have Boko Haram, you have IPOB, Yoruba Nation agitation, you have Ijomi, Niger Delta militancy, Niger Delta secessionist struggle, people calling for Sharia, people calling for devolution of power, people calling for regionalism, people calling for all sorts of things, is because of the war that is going on. I'm not talking about the war physically, intellectual, narrative that is going on, and everybody is trying to impose their identity on Nigeria. And the Yoruba people, unfortunately, we've been the ones that have been sitting on the fence. We've not been paying attention to what has been happening within Nigeria for the past 30 years, especially with the advent of the 1999 Fourth Republic. Politics has been weaponized in Nigeria. Marriage has been weaponized in Nigeria. History has been weaponized in Nigeria. Name it. Economics has been weaponized in Nigeria. Religion has been weaponized in Nigeria. Migration has been weaponized in Nigeria. Anything cattle rearing has been weaponized in Nigeria. Retail businesses has been weaponized in Nigeria. So Nigeria is a place where people are at war with each other. So we saw the way Alex Otti, in the governor of Abia State, that some people have been painting to be the Messiah, how people are busy rigging elections in order to put his people in at the local government election. So it shows you that do not believe the rhetorics. The rhetorics of my candidate is better than your candidate at the base, at the fundamentals of these things. It's a brutal and a radical struggle for power, for control, for resources, and to use every means to manipulate people in order to get an undue advantage. And that's why we saw that the last election in 2023, Yoruba land became the battle zone, where a lot of majority of the people of Southeast and there are some of their allies that are mostly Christians from the Middle Belt and the South were more interested in the political outcome of the Southwest and to impose their political will on the most important state in the Southwest, economically and politically, which was Lagos, in order to impose their own will on Lagos states. Because they know if you take Lagos states away from the Southwest is going to, our economics, our politics is going to be sabotaged and it's going to be weakened. You take Lagos away from the Yoruba people, that is the end of our economic and political renaissance within the Nigerian project. So that was what they did. And that was why they had to go and bring somebody who hated the Yoruba people, who hated the Yoruba identity, who hated what the Yoruba people stood for, who hated our kings, who hated our language, who hated our consciousness, who hated the fact that Lagos State is categorized as a Yoruba state. And they painted it and called it neoliberal movement, detribalized movement, woke movement. They even transferred hundreds of thousands of PVCs in order to change the political from their Southeast region to change the political outcome in Yoruba land. This is the reality of politics in Nigeria. Politics is, according to Mao Zedong, the former chairman Mao, the former leader of China, People's Republic of China, that politics is war without bloodshed. War is politics with bloodshed. Because politics, at the end of the day, is who gets what, who gets power to determine what. Politics is extremely important, and that is why we've seen that the way politics now in the Western world has now become the far left, the far right, the conservatives against the liberals. Because there's a lot of people are pushing back. People are pushing back about multiculturalism, because multiculturalism has been weaponized by groups that do not integrate into their host society, and groups that do not integrate into their host society are using politics as a means. They've weaponized politics. Politics is war itself. They've now weaponized it more in order to push for their own agenda within a multicultural rainbow society, as they put it. So, let's start today. I greet everybody in the name of Olodumare once again. We greet you everywhere you're listening to us. I want to thank the co-hosts, Ajoke Ade. I really, really want to thank you for always being there and for the job well done. I greet you, Khalifa, Defender, Ogbeni, Emeritus, Adigun, Ashake, Jackstar, everybody in the audience. I really, really want to thank you for being here and always being here. Today is going to be another beautiful day. Today is going to be another wonderful day. Kindly help us to retweet so that people can, this particular room, this particular lecture can reach as many people as possible who have been waiting to participate in the conversation. The rise of Trump and identity politics in the multipolar world, how does it affect Nigeria? Firstly, we are going to talk about the man Trump. If you've been watching a lot of BBC, CNN, if you've been watching Al Jazeera and all these powerful media platforms that people consume, you are going to see that they paint Trump to be a racist, a misogynist, a narcissist. They even call him an Adolf Hitler. They defamed him. You know, there's something I've come to see. And it's the same pattern when you are a conservative and you are a conservative politically and ideologically. What the left actually does is that they do not tell the world what their own candidate is going to do better. What they do is to defame, denigrate, desecrate, and do a form of all sort of character assassination against their supposed opposition in order to get a form of leverage. For instance, I'm going to use an example of what we saw in Nigeria. I'm challenging you. Show me 5 Peter Obi, at least more than 5. Can't more than 5 Peter Obi influencers from Rufai Oseni, who is actually that works with Arise TV. People call it Aras TV because actually they harass people and with their type of journalism. From Rufai Oseni to Anambra Forson and all these other egocentric Peter Obi supporters. And even some of their Yoruba allies, neoliberal allies. Show me 5 of them that discuss things like federalism, state police, economics, how to make Nigeria work, how to handle Nigeria's geopolitics, how to handle Nigerian diversity, what can be done. Show me 5. What you are going to see them discussing is, oh, Tinubu is a thief. Oh, Tinubu is a drug baron. Oh, Agbado. Oh, Ronu. Oh, Tinubu. Oh, Peter Obi is a saint. Peter Obi is different from them. Peter Obi is a this. Peter Obi. They try to create this image of a Messiah. And there's no Messiah anywhere in the world. There has never been any leader in the world that is a Messiah. There is no Messiah anywhere in the world. Politics is not where you create Messiah. If you are looking for a Messiah, you are going to reach heaven. There is no Messiah in politics. There was never a Messiah in politics since the inception of politics, since the days of the Roman Empire, thousands of years ago, and there will never be a Messiah in politics for the next 10,000 years in the future if the world still exists. So the fact that some people actually paint a particular candidate as the next thing after rice should scare you. And this is what we call fascism at the highest level, because that was what was done to Hitler. Hitler was categorized to be the best thing. And that is not the way politics works. If a chain smoker, a marijuana smoker, a cocaine sniffer is going to represent you and do what you want him to do when he gets into power, that is your candidate. And if he delivers, that is your candidate. And that is the person that represents your interests. Nobody should tell you and try to gaslight you and tell you and start telling you, oh, you're a tribalist. Why won't I be a tribalist? I am voting in a governor that is going to promote and protect the Yoruba Obaship system in Lagos State. Why should I vote in a governor that will destroy my Yoruba Obas and be imposing Igwes in Lagos State? Do you understand? Why should I vote in a governor, let's say in Kwara State, that will be changing my uppership system to an emirate system. That doesn't make sense. You are not going to accuse me of not being a good Muslim, or you are not going to accuse me of not being a good Nigerian for protecting the interests. Because the people, a lot of Yoruba don't understand Nigeria. Your politics is not just politics. Your politics determines maybe that place you call your ancestral homeland. That place will determine maybe Aja, Oshodi, Ekpe, Lekki will still be Yoruba land in the next 4 years. Depends on who you elect. And that's why it was very, very strange when we saw a lot of Yoruba youths, especially Yoruba Christians, Pentecostals, who are joining people who made it their own, their political campaign slogan was Operation Capture Lagos. We must take Lagos State from the Yoruba people. There is no justification to vote for such a people. There is no justification to entertain such a candidate. That same candidate should be driven far away. Because you listen to the tongues. Because this person does not represent your values. Now let's go back to Trump. Trump is a descendant of a German immigrant. In fact, his forefathers became an American because they wanted to avoid going for military service. In Germany, that was how Trump, the name Trump is a German name. It's actually Trump before it was corrupted, anglicized into Trump. So, United States of America is a little bit different from Nigeria. And even though there are similarities, especially with our system of government, but fundamentally, United States of America is different. The United States of America is a secular colony. A secular colony is a space where the indigenous people have been wiped out and power has been given back, has been given to immigrants over the indigenous people. Within the space from the 15th century, 16th century, from the 16th century to the 20th century, what the immigrants, I'm talking about the space of 300 to 400 years, what the European settlers did from the Atlantic to the Pacific was to annihilate and exterminate the indigenous people and bring in immigrants to take over that place. And when that place was taken over, at first, the European settlers were under the British Empire. There was an American Revolution, which I discussed, I think, a few weeks ago. Not last week or a few weeks ago. And they created a republic, starting with 13 states, the 13 colonies. Now we have close to 51 states. That's why the 13 stars on the American flag stands for the 13 colonies of America, primordial colonies of America. And it was founded. You can't just create a nation out of nothing. You don't create a country out of nothing. There are fundamentals that create a country. You create a country based on shared values. You create a country based on the core. There's an identity. That is how you, first, for a country to be stable, you need a core identity. That's why there's a lot of issues that Nigeria has not solved. And the Biafran war could not solve it. Anybody that says the unity of Nigeria is settled, all those kind of blah, 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 is a joker. I'm saying it on space. We need to settle all these differences within Nigeria. That's why I was happy with the new national anthem that talks about the reality Though tribe and tongues may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Now, what is the basis of our brotherhood? That is exactly why we are talking about federalism, devolution of power, regionalism, and all the rest. So America was a federal country. The different colonies in America were like independent countries, independent places that came together. The states in America run like independent countries. If you go and check, many states in America, their GDP is far bigger than the United Kingdom. They are bigger than Taiwan. They are bigger than Singapore. They are bigger than India. They are bigger. I'm telling you, the only states, country on earth, whose economic power some states in America could not overcome, are not bigger than, the only country on earth is China. The only country is only China. So you see the different states in America, like the California, New York, New Jersey. Those are power states. That the economic power, Los Angeles, all those cities, Vegas. Those cities are far richer than close to 50 countries on the African continent. So, America was founded on federalism. America was founded on Anglo-Saxon Christianized civilization. America was founded on Judeo-Christian civilization. America is a Christian country. And they adopted English language as the general language. America does not have an official language, if you don't know. In the Constitution of America, there is no official language written there. Because there were a lot of places in America that were annexed into America. But those places were not American speakers. It was through mass migration into those places and homogeneity that the languages of those places changed into English language. I'm going to give you two examples. The first example is Louisiana. Louisiana belonged to the French people. It was Napoleon Bonaparte that sold Louisiana to America. America bought two big chunk estates. How America expanded from the 13 colonies to the Pacific, it was through two means: using money to buy up territories and using war. They bought Louisiana from America, I'm not going to talk about American history, but we need to break down some things. So that when you see Trump, why people voted Trump, why some white people went mad about Trump, you are going to see yourself why you will go mad when you see some accursed people, I'm sorry to use those words on here, saying that Lagos is no man's land. Why some people are so entrenched in trying to take over our politics. You are going to understand that you cannot, there are some people in Nigeria, there are some races in this world, their own development is expansionism. That is how it is not about having good roads, having good development. That is not what they use to measure things. What they use to measure their own development is how many lands can we steal from other people, whether through conquest or buying up things. America bought the Shriner from France. We must be alive to our responsibilities. Trump has won. What is the lessons? What is happening in the world? Why do we have people like Kemi Badenoch with his rhetoric? What is happening in Holland? What is happening in Poland? If you think the indigenous people of Europe, of the Christian, the hardcore conservatives are not going to use everything possible to fight the globalist order, you are deceiving yourself. And that is why some of us, we are coming onto this space every weekend, so that a lot of the garbage that is being spilled on these major multinational media spaces Because it seems the Yoruba people are the highest consumers of these brainwashing and reprogramming messages. That we have eyes we cannot see. We have ears we cannot hear. Everybody, what people are not allowing in Igbo land, what people are not allowing in Ijo land, what people are not allowing in Efik land, what people are not allowing in Hausa land is what they are requesting from your hand. And you don't even understand that the worst of your own political leaders is better than their own best. There was a report that which states can stay alone without receiving federal allocation from Nigeria. There is no single Yoruba state from Kogi, Kwara to Lagos to Osun to Ondo was on that space, was on that list. So your leaders, no matter how bad they are, you cannot replace them to people that are coming, that are all bent on dispossessing you of your ancestral heritage. Under the guise of Nigeria, you need to use your head. The Northerners are not apologetic about Sharia. Can the Igbo man go and say he wants to go and be ruling them in Kano or Zamfara or Kaduna without being a Muslim? Even if he's a Muslim, he's not qualified to lead them. Can a Muslim dare say he wants to become the governor of Anambra or Imo or Enugu or Ebonyi? If you are not even Catholic, you cannot attain some things in Anambra. So why should Yoruba land be an exception? That if you are not culturally rooted in our identity, in our philosophy, you cannot control our politics. It's common sense. So, what happened in America? America was founded on Christian values, Judeo-Christian civilization. That's why they say, God bless America. Saudi Arabia was founded on ultra-Sunni Islam after this House of Saud took over that place. After the end of the First World War and the balkanization of the Ottoman Empire. This is common sense. That is why you have the Church of England that regulates all churches, controlled by the Archbishop of Canterbury in the United Kingdom. Is a Christian country, and the King of England cannot be a Muslim. The King of England cannot be a Muslim. He's the head of the government. It's a Christian country. They can make, you can be secular, you can be Jew, you can be Hindu, a Christian, you are the prime minister. You are just a government, you can be fired the following day. But the permanent head of the armed forces of the government of the United Kingdom is the King of England, who is a Christian. Because the United Kingdom was built on Christian, Anglo-Saxon Christian civilization. The same thing as Germany. So what has happened is that in America, there are some things. Look, let me tell you something about America. The America they show you of Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Lil Wayne, all this kind of Craig David, hip hop, that is not the real America. That is not the real America. There are many people, millions of people in America, white people in America that still do not put on trousers. They still put on skirts like Deeper Life. Google the Amish. The Amish Christians. They don't even play all those hip hop songs. You cannot even see all those things. There are a lot of places in America that are hardcore Christian nationalists. If you are not a Catholic, you cannot be the governor of those places. Like I told you, I was talking about how America acquired territory. Alaska was bought from Russia by the United States of America. New Mexico, Texas, all those places, Hawaii was conquered through guns. Guam was taken from the Japanese during the Second World War. So that's why America became America. They bought some, they conquered some, and destroyed the indigenous people and imposed their will. That is what America is all about. And that is how some people are raised in America. That's why America, and they changed the type of Christianity in America. Immediately they formed America and broke away from the queen, from the queen of England, of the King of England, King George. And after the 1776 revolution, they created a new kind of Christianity. Pentecostalism, that kind of Christianity came from America. A lot of Protestants being persecuted from Europe migrated into America. That's why you see Baptists, Seventh-day Adventists, they are all American churches. It's a new type of church, Christianity, that did not have a king or queen controlling it. Anglican is controlled by the King of England. The Orthodox Church, the Orthodox Christianity of Ethiopia used to be controlled by King El Selassie of Ethiopia. The Orthodox Church in Russia used to be controlled by the Caesars. But in America, they destroyed monarchy and created a new republican system. And they said all men are born equal. All men are born equal. So the American Christianity is different. Go and look at it. That's why you saw a lot of our people, they copied American Christianity. American Christianity, I don't want to start mentioning names, but you know what I'm talking about. So American Christianity is different from European Christianity. Those, if you've lived in Europe, you've lived in America, you don't know what I'm talking about. It's different. So it is on these values that America was founded and America was created. Now, Trump was a descendant of the Germans, He was a businessman. So that is it. And it has always been like that. I'm not here to paint America as there was slavery and all the rest, and Now, Trump was a descendant of a draft dodger who came to America, did some business, made money, then he was able to transfer generational wealth. People said he was I'm not going to disrespect the president of America because I don't want Trump to ban me from America. He doesn't take nonsense. So we need to be very careful. And because we have a chapter of TYF in the United States of America, I don't want him to say, these people kick them out. So I don't want problem, please. So he was a businessman and they were able to transfer his wealth. There was generational wealth of America. There was generational wealth of Trump from one Trump dynasty to one Trump dynasty. If you knew Trump 30 years ago, Trump used to be a boxing promoter, wrestling promoter, so he has always been a social media celebrity. So that was who Trump was. Later on, all of them started going into politics. And something started happening in America. And I'm not here to speak against the right of people to identify what they want to identify with. Some people started picking offense for people praying in public. In America, people praying, saying in Jesus' name in America. There was a particular case of a particular Christian who was a cake maker who said he is not going to make cakes for gay couples because he's a Christian. And the doctrine of Christianity he follows says marriage should be between man and a woman. So why should I make a cake for between Paul and Peter? Doesn't make sense. So why should I make cakes for them? He was arrested, tried, and then he was sent to jail. A lot of people in all those redneck states, Utah, Idaho, Texas, Louisiana, those places, they were so angry. Many of them were angry at what's going on. And a lot of people had issues with the change in demography in America. Let me tell you how states in America were created. So that when people tell you in Senate climbs, oh, it was, this place is better than this place. America is better than, you are going to tell them this history. Let me tell you how states were created. That is why Puerto Rico is not a state in America, but it's a U.S. territory. Guam is not a state in America, but it's a U.S. overseas territory. But Hawaii is a state in America. And why people like Trump had issues with Hawaii. And when they were claiming about if Obama was born in the USA or not, for a place to be called a state in America, that place must have 65% to 70% white population. That was how the 51 states in America was created. And I'm going to give you two examples. As an example of a state. Oklahoma. Oklahoma was a state that was so huge in the early 20th century. I had almost 60% to 70% of the population of Oklahoma, the original Oklahoma, were indigenous Red Indians. And what I'm telling you, the same, look, when I look at Nigeria, and some of us have studied history, I'm a little bit afraid. I'm always scared of the socio-engineering that military juntas did, especially people from the north, when they were creating states in Nigeria. It's scary. They borrowed a book from the American state creation in order to create hegemony from some race, ethnicities, and make some people minorities perpetually within Nigeria. If anybody tell you race, ethnicity, religion does not matter in Nigeria, run away for your life. Because your life will depend on it. You need to be bold. This is Yoruba land. If you're not ready to respect our culture, go back to where you're coming from. We've reached that level. Is it a horse or them? So I'm going to tell you how they created states in America. So Oklahoma, the white settlers look at it. If we mistakenly allow Oklahoma to become an independent state, and Native Americans, they are a majority in a state, we are going to be in trouble in the future. So they did a lot of dirty things so that their own youth, their children, will not be able to be fighting indigenous people. I'm telling you the truth. They were very ruthless. They were very ruthless. That's why I don't understand. I'm sorry, I don't want to say some things here. Where some Yoruba people believe, you are going to be turning the other side. You are going to go extinct. And the world will not give a damn about you. Don't you see during the campaign, 2023, when people from the southeast were mocking Yoruba people, we've bought all your land. We will throw you. Your people are useless. We've bought all your land. You become landless. We've taken over your land. They were mocking you. They were mocking. They were mocking everybody. And you can accept you are mentally damaged. That's how you're going to say such mockery should be tolerated. Except you are a slave. It's not politics. Your land, your heritage, your soul, your land of your ancestors, they are all intertwined. It is the existence. That's why Yoruba sọ pé ilẹ̀ àgbọ̀kọ́yẹrí. Ilẹ̀ ni. The wars in the world are fought about land. The wars between Russia and Ukraine is about land. The war between Palestine and Israel is about land. The war between Iran and Azerbaijan is about land. It's about land. First World War is about land. Second World War is about land. The Sudan Civil War is about land. It's about land. The Ethiopian Tigray Civil War was about land. It's about land. It's about territory. Because God is no longer created any more land. So if you lose your own land, God is no longer creating more lands. If you lose God and that other ethnicities, turn your own land into a no man's land. Sorry, I'm speaking hard words. Let's go back to Oklahoma. Oklahoma, they broke Oklahoma. Go and look at the map of America. If you look at the map of America, you know this ori pension and yakini, person of Yamapri. Look at the way it's well carved out. They now broke Oklahoma into like 3-4. They took like 10-20% of native Indians, put them in another state, another 10-20% into another state, another 10-20% into another state. So they now did it that way. So they now make sure that there were also more migrations from Europe. So if it is states, you might get white 40 or 50%. Migration to increase the population to like 60-70%. So by doing that, the white controlled all the states in America. But in Puerto Rico, the indigenous Latinos, black people mixed together were like 70% or 80%. Guam, 70%, 80%. Oh, if I states, they will never allow them to become a state. They will vote against it to allow them to become a state. And why? That's why Hawaii, they had to mass migrate a lot of whites into Hawaii. Destroy the kingdom of Hawaii. Depose the king queen. Kill a lot of people. Made sure that Hawaii became slightly 65% white. Yes. Caucasians. And they made Hawaii a state. So that's how all these states were created. But what has happened? For the past 40 years, there were a lot of mass migration from Central America into United States of America. And states in the South, and started losing a lot of states in the South started losing their demography. So a good example is California. California is the richest state in America. So what happened in California was that they found out that whites are going to become a minority in California in 50 years. They did a particular plan. That's the same plan some people have for Lagos State, some states like Lagos State, Ondo State. That's why you see them mass migrating PVC. They are not brilliant people. They are just copying what was done in America, done in Australia, and that's what they are using to all this, their ethnic supremacist rubbish. And we've seen that a lot of people within the political space of Yoruba land, I'm sorry to say this, are not intellectually and historically literate to understand Nigeria. They don't. We're in trouble. Why can Kagbada get filler, looking good, but they don't have the mental capacity, the intellectual sagacity to understand Nigeria. They're like sitting ducks. While the best brains, Ogbonyi, Etisado abroad. Some of you have run away. But you've read all the book of Awolowo, you know principle, you see the threat. That's why the campaign for the preservation of Yoruba land is coming more from the diaspora. I want to one lay wàhálà ti wà. Majority of our affiliates to one in the position of power. I have no business in that position of power. The best brains have run away from Nigeria. That's the bitter truth. That's the bitter truth. That's all of us are shouting on top of our voices that there is a trouble, there is a problem coming. And we must not continue to watch. So, let me give you a good example of that international Oklahoma position in Nigeria. I'm going to use an example of Old Kwara State. In Old Kwara State, the Yoruba people were the majority. Because Okun Yoruba people in Kwara West, Kogi West, all the way to Lokoja, and in Ogorimagongo, in Kogi Central, with the Yoruba of current day Kwara South, Belawa Yoruba, Kwara Central, ati Moro local government, to one in Kwara North, were by far the biggest block politically in Old Kwara State. So all this nonsense ideology of Kwara is not Yoruba land, Kogi is not Okun is not Yoruba land, Ilorin is not Yoruba land. The Yorubas there were able to keep it in check. Before, I would not have said this in public, but we need to say some things in public. We are not going to be afraid of anything anymore. Patapata la foju, kuma la dete. Because the nothing is as dangerous as a Yoruba man who is in charge of our politics with no knowledge of our politics. We are going to be in trouble. This kind of anyone, I have no apologies. Yoruba nation, how can we say we are doing Yoruba nation when we are preaching Awoism here? You have no future. You don't have where you are going. You are not interested you are not passionate with the protection and preservation of our homeland. You are not ready to do everything possible that there's no Yoruba boy or girl that goes hungry every night. You've not spent your money for the promotion of the ideology of ideologues of Awolowo. But what you do is to continue to say rubbish. That in this same country, some people want to impose Sharia law on the rest of us in a secular country. In this same country, Latinly Kurawa, Kurukusao, Kuruna, terrorist group that started killing people in Sokoto and Kebbi states. In this same country, you cannot go out every Monday. You are shitting at home. In this same country. In this same country, some people are more powerful than the states. And you are not opening your eyes to understand what Nigeria is. In this same country, some people killed more than 20 Nigerian soldiers earlier this year in the other state. In this same country. This same country. That's how wide Nigeria is. It's wide. And you need to survive it. Well, when Yoruba nation, we will run away. No. We are not Omakin Lawa Wo Salo. We will survive Nigeria. We stand our ground and survive and understand and teach our youth, our elders, ourselves what Nigeria is. So let me tell you what they did in Oklahoma, they did it in Kwara State. When they now wanted to create Kogi, let me tell you what they did. So they took the Okun Yorubas Very, very strategic surgical operation. They took the Okun Yorubas. Ṣé báwọn Yorùbá ni wọ́n tẹ́ lọ kó sí North Central, Middle Belt. Ẹ dá wọn padà sí Southwest. No. They now took the Okun Yorubas and the Igbiras. They now went to go and bring another Yoruba group that have evolved to a different identity, Igala. From all Benue, wọ́n lọ kó wọn wá. And they now matched them with the Okun people. So what now happened was that the Okun people and the Igbira people became a minority, while the Igala people became the majority. And the Igala people started producing the governors. And in fact, it got to a stage that for the Okun Yoruba people to even go far, they need to denounce their Yoruba identity in that whole Kogi state. The Igala people had to play dirty, lobby, and strategically place themselves. That's why you see that an Igala person now is not going to spend 12 years than a Bira man is going to spend 12 years as the governor of Kogi State. That's why you can insult Yaya Bello, but you see an average Igbira will never follow you to insult Yaya Bello. Because to him, Yaya Bello was able to use everything dirty to make his people have political power. A race without political power is a conquered race. I want to repeat. A race without political power is a conquered race. A race without political power is a decapacitated race. A race without political power in your ancestral homeland, you are an extinct race. A race without, if you do not control the political power of your land, you are conquered. You are conquered. What is Yoruba land? Yoruba land is a land ruled by Yoruba people, politically and economically. Why should Yoruba land be ruled by Chinedu? So make sense. Why should Yoruba land be ruled by Audu? Not your land anymore. So, what they did in Kwara State, so they now left the Igbominos, part of the Igbominos, they left them intact. They now took, in order to ensure that the Bariba, Kamberi part, the Bariba part, Barutin part of Kwara State and the Nupe part of Kwara State can form, because those places are not geographically linked, can form Kwara North. They used another Yoruba groups, the Jeba, Shao, and all those Yoruba kingdoms, they used them as a pawn, put them in Moro local government, and they now called that place Kwara North. They now took Ilorin East, Ilorin West, Ilorin South, and Asa local government, Kwara Central. So by doing that, the control that the Yoruba people had in that whole Kwara State, they broke it into two through state creation. Instead of making the Igala people two, almost 10, 11 local governments, go and give them their independent state. No. They match them again into another state so that they will never have any form of ethnic cohesion. The same thing, go and look at Gombe. Go and look, study the map of Nigeria. That's why I've said any past general, especially in the class of 66 to 2000, should not be allowed to rule this country again. They destroyed this country. They destroyed Nigeria. They destroyed Nigeria. We can insult others, we can say any kind of thing we want to say, but these people should not be allowed to rule this country anymore. They destroyed this beautiful country with their own hegemonic agenda. So, you look at Southern Bauchi, Southern Gombe, Southern Kaduna, they broke all those minorities are geographically contiguous to themselves. What did they do? They broke them, Southern Borno, they broke them off So that they will just be one MO. There will be a state, 2 senatorial zones will be Hausa, Fulani, or Kanuri. They will not put minorities there into the last senatorial zone. Another senatorial state, out of 3 senatorial zones, Hausa, Fulani, they will put another minority there again. They will now also ensure that the capital is where their home people are. So if somebody says, I'm from Bauchi and I'm a Christian, it's like, how are you a Christian? We thought that place is a Hausa Fulani. I said, no, I'm a Christian and I'm not Muslim. My 10 generations were never Muslims. That's how they created majority of the states, especially in the Northeast. So places like Plateau, places like Bauchi, Benue, Taraba, they were lucky. They were very, very lucky in those places to have a considerable power. That is why there is a form of middle belt resistance for their own people. Look at South. What they did for the Igbos in the South. What they did for the Igbos in the South was very straightforward. Because I'm not here, you know my political disposition to the Zikist ideology from the Southeast. And they've not, if they are still pursuing that ideology, they are a threat and a danger to the Yoruba race. An ideology that seeks to expand and dominate other people on their ancestral homeland while hiding under the guise of Nigeria. We don't want such. Nigeria is a country of ethnic nations. It's not a melting pot. Look at what they did. It's a surgical operation. A surgical operation was done to curse all the minorities in the Southeast. All the minorities in the Southeast. Maybe only Igala people. Some Igala people are the ones you see in the Southeast. The majority of the minorities in the Southeast were cut out and put into the South in order to prevent them from creating an hegemony. The Yoruba people were the first victims when they created the Midwest region. Broke Akoko into 2. Took the Akoko place, which they call Akoko Edo, formerly called Akoko Oke, Ogorimagongo, out. Took it out. How to take the Shekiri people to be able to make sure that the Western Ijaws and the Edo people were happy. And that's why we have this small chunk called the West Southwest today. And they did us a favor. They thought they were doing us evil. They did us a favor. That is why we are more relatively politically stable than the rest of Nigeria. While they want to create the empire, it is religious crisis today, political crisis tomorrow. That's what happened. So what was done to the Native Americans that's why you see in America was done to the people of the Middle Belt in Nigeria. That's why you see that the South have more political power. They are the most organized ethnic minority bloc in Nigeria. Because there is a form of cohesion in that area of the South. To have they are united, they are majorly Christians. Many of them, one way or the other, have Edo civilization. And all of them have a shared trauma, which is that their oil and gas is being taken by the rest of Nigeria and their lands have been polluted. They have those 3 things. And many of them were marginalized during the Eastern region. They still have the Biafran trauma. How they were forced into a war that was never their own war. So, They are trauma, they can use it to unite. Religion-wise, they can use it to unite. And there's a form of civilization that they can use to unite. That is why they are more on the table. Since 1999 to 2024, people from the South have produced Vice President of Nigeria. They produced President of Nigeria. They produced the first Southern FCT Minister of Nigeria. And they produced a Senate President of Nigeria. Those are powerful. That is a powerful region. Because fortunately for them, the Biafran War happened. And they were able to get a pop-up negotiation during the state creation. At the detriment of the Southeast, and destroyed Southeast hegemony in that place. So let's go back to what we're discussing. So Trump was a billionaire. Rich, powerful, well-connected. He's a billionaire, white, and he's a Christian. So he has those privileges, and you cannot destroy such a person within the American society. And the hardliners, they saw what has happened in California. They saw what has happened in New York. They've seen that little by little, people were mass migrating across the borders, especially in that southern border. The problem was not, America does not have problem of invasion from the west. America does not have any problem of invasion from the east. America does not have a problem of invasion from the north, except if America even wants to go and conquer Canada. And in fact, America once also took another region. They stole the land from Canada too, but that's not today. America stole lands from Canada. America stole lands from all their neighbors. So, what some people in America see, apart from the fact that their conservative Christian values is being challenged, when you hear Western value is nothing but Judeo-Christian values. Western values is nothing but Judeo-Christian values. Western values did not come from the blues. It came. That's why Boko Haram says no to Western education. Boko Haram. Boko, Western education. Haram. We don't want. We don't want. So that is something not good. So that's why they prefer Islamic education. It's a civilization issue. I've spoken in different forums and different conferences about Boko Haram. That is an ideological problem. Bullets will not win this war. They didn't listen. Some two nose did not even pay attention to what I was saying. What happened? Now you have Lakurawa. Is it Kuruna? Is it Lakurawa or Kurukusa? Lakurawa coming from the group. Because there is a factory that is turning out people with this ideology that you are not checkmating. You force them into Nigeria and you are not finding a way to manage them within Nigeria. I just pity our innocent boys and girls going to the battle line to be fighting unnecessary wars. Because we refuse to define Nigeria. So Trump was brought out. Trump is a tool. You see, Trump represents the aspirations of millions of people in America. Peter Obi is not Peter Obi. Peter Obi is an empty-headed loon. Peter Obi is a tool. Peter Obi is not Peter Obi. Forget all the rubbish. He is a tool for an agenda. So that's the reality. Don't let anybody to tell you otherwise. He's a tool. Trump is a tool. Peter Obi is a tool. It's an instrument, maybe for good or bad. That depends. I don't know. Tinubu is a tool. Atiku is a tool. Atiku is a tool for some establishment backing him to go and do such and such to Nigeria. For economic, for religion, for ethnic reality. So you see what Trump is saying. One, we are going to do this, male and female, ban abortion, male and female is the gender, all those things. Intoniko lo she yen. Intoniki Trump lo she, on lo she yen. Because politics is the will of the people. It is the will of the people. So that is why when the people of the Northwest specifically wanted Sharia law, their governors had to do it. The governor of Kano then said, no, we cannot have Sharia law. When they started threatening him and his political dynasty, he had to do it. He had to do it. Because Nigeria is a secular country. We cannot do this and create problem. Now look at terrorism left, right, and center. Because those people are going overboard. You created a Sharia law in a particular state that is a subnational unit, and they are seeing that you are not implementing the hardcore, theocratic, ultra-Sunni, Wahhabi Sharia law, and people are getting money from the Middle East, from Wahhabis. They're getting donations to implement agenda. That's why I say we need to define Nigeria. I don't hate any religion. You know my stand. How can a Yoruba man be theocratic? No. I have Christian family members. I have Isheshe family members. So this country has to be secular, or else there is no country. If you want a Christian Nigeria or you want a Muslim Nigeria, then we are not going to have Nigeria. That country South Sudan will be a joke. Since there's a because when we say this, let me tell you the truth. There are some people, the reason why they believe in Nigeria is that they believe one day Nigeria will be an Islamic country. That's the people like Pantami. He said that one day images will be taken away from Nigerian currency. He said it now. It's a mental problem. That's the reason why people like Pantami believe in Nigeria. One day you turn this country an Islamic country. And there are some people, the reason why they are in Nigeria, a friend of mine that is a Deeper Life member, he said, oh, I want Christians to are not here. We need to save them. Just Nigeria is for Christ. What has the brain, religion done to our brain? Why can't we live as human beings? You want to turn Nigeria to a Christian country? Oh, Niban. Oh, Niada. Lord, try. Lord, Samfara. Lord, try. That's the problem. Oh, God bless this country. The obedient movement is, let me tell you obedient movement. Obedient movement is a movement. It's like a car. So in a car, you need different fuel to power that car. Let me tell you what is powering obedient movement. Christian nationalism, Igbo nationalism, Christian nationalism, Igbo nationalism, and far left neoliberal nationalism. All the queer queens, LGBTQ advocates, obedient movement, let it bow. Unbelievable, about Peter Obi Wole is going to make some laws that will protect LGBTQ in Nigeria. I'm telling you the truth. and the Christian nationalism. Oh, Muslim tickets. Oh, wow, we want to Islamize Nigeria. In terms of Ibambeni. Now, the Igbo nationalism aspect is, it is the Igbo turn to rule Nigeria and to impose the will of Nnamdi Azikiwe and Aguiyi-Ironsi. This is the time to do it. That's all. Christian nationalism, Igbo nationalism, and far-left neoliberal nationalism. That is why they are intolerant, they are radical, they move like mobs. Trump will win election in the USA. Is it different from what Obedience did in Nigeria? There's no difference. Because the ideology driving them is the same. It's one of the same. It's one of the same. So you need to critically understand Nigeria properly. So Trump is a tool to enforce the Judeo-Christian values of America. 2, to reverse demographic changes. That's why Trump is saying we will build the wall. Ori àwọn wèrè kan ní òpè láàrin Yorùbá tẹ́ni kẹ́yìn ṣe rí Nàìjíríà gbogbo wa. Ibo lè jẹ gáfínà lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ àwọn olórí burúkú. I'm not, no apologies. I record do it. Over our dead body. And you are going to be arguing. I don't argue with them. My Danny blocking straight in my def sure sinu aye ilẹ̀ tí ẹ náà àjòjì ó gbà lọ́wọ́ ẹ ni. Because you fight them physically, fight them politically, fight them spiritually. Anybody that is trying to weaponize history, politics to challenge the rights of your indigenous rights. Indigene. There is a reason why there is a gene inside the indigene. Gene is in your DNA. Genes are DNA segments. The segment of your DNA is a gene. So it is even more than blood that attaches you to that place. And some people are hiding under one end. You see, when they had the guns, they were marching towards Lagos. Go and look at the letter Ojukwu wrote to Victor Banjo that they are going to appoint a Biafran administrator in Lagos State. When they captured the Midwest, who did they appoint? They appointed an Igbo man from the Southeast and declared, and they said Midwest Republic. And appointed an Igbo man there. So if not for lack of respect, your forefathers wanted to capture our own land. They were stopped, and you are still using the political means to still capture that same place. You think we are stupid? You think we are daft? You think all Yorubas are accursed? Because some Yorubas are accursed to be in such a group, to be in such a platform, to be in such accursed. They are accursed. To be in such a movement of people challenging your rights to control your space. Oyinbo le gbaru ẹ láyé. That's why people like Trump stood up. And people that were supporting Trump, all the obedient, IPOB, supporting Trump, are supporting Chinedu Gbadebo to take DRV to take over Lagos State. Ṣé pé tó máa ba ayé ẹ̀jẹ̀ láyé ẹ̀ bàjẹ́ the ayé ẹ̀ bàjẹ́ gbé. If you let them to destroy your nyash, they will make fun of you that your nyash is destroyed. This is just for you to laugh a little bit because it's too serious. If they destroy your life, they will come and laugh you, way. They will report on your land. Agbero. People that came with nylon back. People that were giving, people like Tyson and they were giving free education. I grew up in my home. Nobody taught me any hate against any ethnicity. The only issue is they tell us about Ilorin. And we should never forget the land of our ancestors. We don't hate anybody. But what we've seen is that we did not pay attention to the warning of Akintola. Every secondary school, primary school, university, Yoruba students should hear that warning of Akintola. It's evergreen. Everything he said. Nigeria is not a nation, it's a country of ethnic nations. If you are not contented with your own land, don't move close to us. You want to expand, go to the Efik and the Bibios and take their land. Don't come to Yoruba land. We will resist you. We resist you. We will resist you. So identity politics was what gave rise to the likes of Donald Trump. And identity politics in the real terms is politics of minorities trying to create, when we say minorities, identity is now fluid. Religion is as an identity. Sexual orientation has become an identity. Race, the color of your skin has become an identity. Ethnicity, are you Yoruba or not, has become Jewish or not, German or not, Hebrew or not, Fulani or not, has become an identity. So the minorities or the LGBTQ, the queer group, they've also now created a form like, oh, we are a minority and we need to be protected within this democracy. So these things are now have been going on in the West for the past 40 years. And many of the values are now at variance with the fundamental values that on which many of these European and Western countries were formed. Culture is a big thing in the Western world. They don't joke with their values. They call it Western values. But some of them have become atheists, but they still know it's a Western value. Many Jews don't go to the synagogue. They don't go to synagogue. They don't observe the Sabbath, all those kind of stuff. But they still practice Jewish values because it has become a culture today. And that is the fundamentals. The state of Israel was created based on Jewish values. So if you go to the state of Israel, you won't go there and say you want to enforce Christian values. You are going to create problem. And when they say they don't want you, you cannot say, oh, they are racists, they are tribalists. You came to a Yoruba land, you are complaining they are speaking Yoruba. You came to Lagos, you are complaining they are speaking Yoruba. And you have a mental problem? Do you have a mental problem? Do you? Because there are values. You went to Zamfara and Kebbi, and you are complaining. Wọ́n jẹ́ kí n mu tiri. Wọ́n jẹ́ kí n mu Gudami. Wọ́n jẹ́ kí n mu street star. So, do you have a mental problem? You went to a place that was the bastion of Sokoto Caliphate, one of the biggest Islamic empires in the history of Sub-Saharan Africa. You now went there, you are complaining, they didn't allow you to drink tiri. Does it make sense to you? If not, that some of you have mental problems. I have learned my lesson not to use kind words to neoliberal far left anymore. They are mad people. They are mad people who don't understand boundaries. When they talk, there is no common sense, no historical backing to what they are saying. They just want to create chaos in the world. I don't pity the Western world. They created the mess in Africa. They created the 1884. They destroyed the natural order of things in the world. So they should live with it. No apologies. That's why they are now trying to save their own ass. That's why people like Trump is coming to preserve and prevent the blowback of the chaos they sowed in the world. The black people in the United Kingdom, you brought them as slaves. You created an empire, cheap labor. Why are you not complaining we are with you? But in Yoruba land, did we colonize the Igbos? Shall colonize him? We only share a country. That's all. And our own forefather, the fundamentals of our existence in Nigeria is a federal union, not a melting pot. Not a melting pot. Awolowo told us, I'm taking you into Nigeria, and there will be Yoruba land in Nigeria. That's why we have House of Chiefs. In the Western region budget of 1962-63, £100,000 was budgeted. £100,000 is equivalent to billions of naira today to teach Yoruba history. So Yoruba is our identity. We are Yoruba first. That is the fundamental, the doctrine, the ideology, the basics on which this organization stands. Think Yoruba First organization. We don't care, maybe you are black, you are brown, you are white, you are in Benin Republic, you are in Togo, you are Brazil, Cuba, Trinidad and Tobago, you are in Nigeria, you are a Muslim, you are a Christian, you are a Sheshe. We are Yoruba first. We are Yoruba first. If you think because you are a Muslim, your fellow Muslims that are not Yoruba will treat you better. Remember MKO Abiola and Kudirat Abiola. If you think because you are a Christian, your fellow Christians, brother in the Lord, and from Anambra will treat you better. Remember what they did to Samuel Ladoke Aketola. Remember what they did. You are not spared. Pasanta fi na yale. Ombelaja. Wa fi na yawo na. You are not spared. In as much you are Yoruba and you speak Ngbati, wa je pankere yen. You won't escape it. That is the fundamentals of our existence within Nigeria. That is the fundamentals of our existence as Yorubas. Now, what do I mean by the multipolar world? There's a reason why I'm giving these lectures. I know the moderators are saying, oh, Are, maybe you grab a cup of water. Let me just round up. And people can come on board and let's have a conversation. We are going to take questions and the moderators are going to take over. The multipolar world is a world of multiple superpowers.
Please do go and grab a glass of water. Thank you.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Let me continue. I'm in the next 20 minutes I'll be done. A multipolar world is a world of multiple superpowers. What is a superpower? Superpowers there are different levels of powers in the world. So when power, what kind of power are we talking about? Is it military power? Is it spiritual power? Is it economic power? Is it human resources power? So I'm going to quickly break it down. In military power, before the world used to be unipolar. Unipolar in the sense that countries, states, empires from the Western Europe. When I mean Western Europe, countries from the former Western Roman Empire, ruled from Rome, used to control the world. So the United Kingdom was a superpower. At the point in time, it was the only power in the world. Economically, military, spiritually, it controlled almost half of the whole world. So that was the British. And they were the only superpower in the world. The same thing we also had with this particular power. When America became the only power in the world, unchallenged, economic, technologically wise, they had the power of life and death. And they destroyed the only superpower that challenged them then, the USSR. America destroyed they destroyed the USSR from within. As America could determine what we would say the country or this country will cease to exist. They could invade any country without any consequences. So they had military and economic power. Now, something has happened. An economic superpower has emerged, which is China. So all other powers that only had military power, abe China ni wọ́n sá pamọ́ sí báyìí. Countries like, the reason why the sanctions could not kill Russia was because of China. So if China has the capacity to supply everything technologically wise that the Russia needs. And that's scary. It's scary for the first time to the Western world. China is technologically advanced than the West in many places. So when it comes to economic power, we now have America and China. That's the bitter truth. And China is very strategic. China is not interested in moralizing the world. China is not interested if maybe you are practicing Sharia, or you are practicing democracy, or you are practicing Shintoism, you are practicing Buddhism. Kò sí nǹkan tó kan China pẹ̀lú yẹn. Èyàn ṣáà kówó yín wá ká jọ ṣe business. That's what China does. That's why you saw the Vice President of America, Vance, saying America will no longer moralize the world. Trump said, what is the business of America? If the people of Afghanistan and Iran want to be wearing hijab, they've been wearing it for 1,000 years. Why should they be going to Iran and be complaining that, why are you allowing your women to be wearing hijab? Because Trump, there are two camps in American political establishment. The realist and the idealist. And idealist na man dogunle. Àwọn ni. Realists, they can compromise. Idealists are very radical people. They are very radical. Àwọn idealists, làwọn wèrè, tí wọ́n believe pé an Igbo and a Yoruba hating lunatic like GRV should be the governor of Lagos State. Those are idealists. The idealists are those who believe someone who does not think in Yoruba, who hates the Yoruba culture, should control the biggest Yoruba empire of the 21st century, which is Lagos State. Those are idealists. They are lunatics. They are the ones who believe that by virtue of miracle, gay homosexuality will be allowed in places like Pakistan, and they'll be saying rubbish on TV. Those are idealists. Realists, we understand that the world is multi-ethnic, multi-civilization. And one civilization must not try to impose its own definition of humanity to the other. So that is why going to Sokoto as a Yoruba man to lecture them about what humanity is a mental problem. That's why when you saw when that Minister for Women Affairs was saying, oh, they cannot allow some underage girls to get married in Niger State. They told him, what's your business? This is Niger State. This is our own Islamic reality. And she backed off and ran away. That's Okun Kadafi Yokuro as the Minister of Women Affairs. She stepped on toes in that place. That's within Nigeria. That is within Nigeria. That's within Nigeria. That's why I've told a lot of these guys, this IPOPZ guys, you don't use your own definition of worldview in Ebonyi, in Soko, in Anambra, and start using that to interpret politics in Yoruba land. You will get yourself in trouble. A Yoruba person too cannot use his own definition of politics to go and define the politics in Anambra or Delta or Bayelsa. You saw when the governorship candidate in Labour Party said on Arise TV, he said, I'll forget. He said with a beat. If anybody mess up with a beat for here, on live TV, the usual moralist like Abati that speaks from both sides of his mouth, and that nuisance that called himself Rufai, they all kept quiet and laughed about it. If a Yoruba man says, oh, this person is a fascist, he must be corrected. That's why we must start coming out. Look, you owe nobody any apology. Anybody friend, Igbo friend, Benin friend, Efik friend that is angry with you because Lagos is is Yoruba land, and is not angry because of that. Come on, kori buruku elo. Alora mirami la ri enikon rabo e. Come on, lo. That's not your friend. Only she konje oko konje si baba tomo come on la ni. That's what Trump is saying. America is a white country. It's a Christian country. We are pro-Israel. We are pro-Zionist. If you don't like this, pack your bags and leave our country. That's what Trump is saying. He's saying what some people, you can hate Kemi Badenoch. Kemi Badenoch is a tool. One lonely. He is not representing Yoruba interests. What a white person will say in the United Kingdom and get stoned and killed is what Kemi Badenoch is saying. He's saying it. This country is built on Western values. If you hate us, why are you coming to our country? We must protect the demography of this country. This country must. I want that white if I could so don't. She's a tool. You can say ambition one bed, but that is the way politics works. You have a representative. Your House of Reps are a tool to represent you in your own place. I want to be Sharia laws in Nigerian House of Assembly. They are saying what their people want him to do. And you know, we don't want this. That's how democracy works. So there are superpowers in the world. Russia is a military power. But the economy, China. But China has done one thing. It has built economic power and military power. America is an economic power. It's a military power. And it's a Christian power. Do you know the reason why a lot of people love America? Especially in Nigeria. Because God bless America. Oh, Sentere Baba. No, I'm speaking tongues. You saw those obedient after the election that they used to come and cry on social media. 2,000 people, they will be crying. I've never seen a sort of nuisance like that in thousands in my life. Eruba mio, any problem? That's why I'm not concerned if there's any Yoruba. I'm not insulting Yoruba people, Igbo people in their midst. But I see names like Kemi, Titi in their midst. I am scared. Bó lọmọ Yorùbá ṣe wà nírú àwùjọ àwọn gbèrè bá àwọn dìgbòlugi báyìí. Ṣé ò lọ́pọlọ ni? So the reason why a lot of them love America is because America is a Christian country. So that is the spiritual power America tún ní tó tayọ China. So a lot of people are going to support America because their pastor told them that let us pray for America. God bless America. So if you look at countries like Qatar, countries like Saudi Arabia, countries like Turkey, countries like UAE, those countries have spiritual power because, especially America and Saudi Arabia has economic power. It can buy anything it wants. Money is like toilet paper in Saudi Arabia. They can be burning dollars in Saudi Arabia for them to remain cold or warm during winter. So they have so much power to get what they want. Money, economic power. So they are economic powers. And they have another thing, Islam. They could use Islam as a leverage to control hundreds of countries in the world. That's why when I see some of our people talking trash, like one idiot said, Ilorin is an Islamic town. Why is Islamic town in the Nigerian constitution? Is there anything called Christian town in Nigerian constitution? Created. That is a Yoruba speaking state. A Yoruba speaking city. It is a Yoruba city. Tẹ̀torí pé ẹ̀sìn religion ti yí ọpọlọ ẹ̀ padà reverse. That's how it's going to think. Those people might be Yoruba, bearing Kolapo, Tunde, but they are Muslim first. They are not Yoruba first. They are a danger to all of us, a big danger. I don't know what Facebook. I don't want to talk about that. Those loud, useless, ragtag, dirty, illiterate minority. By their time, Tọ́lọ́run máa deal pẹ̀lú wọn, ó súnmọ́. Inshallah, lágbára Ọlọ́run. Torí ẹni tó bá fẹ́ dalẹ̀ Yorùbá ìrú, Ọlọ́run ó dá ilé ẹ̀rù, yóò dá yé ẹ̀rù. Lágbára Olódùmarè. Because àwa ìjà ẹ̀sìn, we don't want it here. Because religion should strengthen you to protect your people and protect your race. Any religion that makes you not to protect your land and protect your race, then something is wrong with it. Ẹ fẹ́ bá àwọn Muslim, ẹ fẹ́ bá àwọn yẹn lójú jẹ́ ní ànígbà. So, how does it affect Nigeria? Number one, the end of globalization and globalist idea is at hand. The idea that a particular system of government, way of a civilization should be universal is coming to an end. And it's going to challenge the world order, which the West calls the rule-based order. Fingers are crossed about what's going to happen in Ukraine and Palestine and Israel. But we know what is going to happen. What is going to happen in Ukraine, Russia, is going to give a Russian victory. Because what is Russia looking for in Ukraine? Russia is looking for the following thing. Because many of you, Russia, I want to ask you a question, brothers and sisters. I'm not a secessionist, but I'm going to ask you a question. Let's say Yoruba land, Southwest, is an independent country. If Southwest is an independent country, and Northern Nigeria happens to be an independent country, and they now made laws, and it can be president, ni Sokoto, he now made laws that Yoruba people of Kogi, Kwara, must stop speaking Yoruba language, and that they must stop bearing their Yoruba names, and that all of them must start speaking Hausa language. And if they say no, they will start bombing them. They are now bombing them. If you are the Yorubas of Southwest, what are you going to do? Answer me.
I think we should do what Russia did.
Thank you.
Exactly, because that was what they were doing to the Russians in Ukraine, 2014.
Thank you.
That was why he stepped in. He had to step in.
Not to step in. They were bombing the Russians in Donbass. World were supplying arms and ammunition to the Russians, to the Ukrainians, to be bombing. And they said they are fighting secessionists. They are fighting secessionists. They are fighting agitators. Have you forgotten that in your next neighbors are Russians? And a superpower, because they told him that Russia will not do anything. Because those places were rich in coal, in lithium, and mineral resources. Only that or leja, she not brought to go to. The same thing happened in Italy. There is a German-speaking part of Italy, one called South Tyrol. There were some Italian nationalists said they will ban German language. Everybody must speak Italian. Those people said no. And they became Ofedogun. The Southern Tyrol, the German minority in Italy, went to go and report to their brothers in Austria and Germany. After Germany came in, tell about Allah, leave our brothers alone. Or else we will march and annex this place as part of Germany. Or Austria. That's what happened in 1980s. And what did Italy did? I said, please, I don't want problem. I don't want problem of Germany. Other European countries quickly say, please, we don't want German problem in Europe again. What did they do? In South Tyrol, speak your language. Teach your children in German language. We gave you autonomy. Control your taxes. Control your resources, at least. And you are going to be an autonomous republic within a united Italy. That was how they solved that problem 33 years, 32, 33, 35 years ago. The same thing should have been done in Ukraine. But they say, we are the superpower. They have forgotten the world has become multipolar. That's what happened. And what does Russia want? Control Luhansk, the Donbass region, control Crimea. That's all. That's the fundamental. And make sure Ukraine does not join NATO. Because you join NATO, they can bring nuclear weapon to your base. Who prays to have southeast as a neighbor to the southwest? Do you pray to have southeast as a neighbor to the southwest? You are going to think we are neighbors. That's the reality. Nobody wants a southeast. We don't want it. Let them face their business. It's not a threat. We've had enough of this madness of trying to come and teach us how we should govern our space. How don't you go and teach them in Kano or Borno? Fix your space before you come here and be teaching us governance. Who are you to teach us governance? Who are you? Are you better than us? In all metrics, you are not. So who are you to come and be teaching us governance in the southwest? That's why this country is called Federal Republic of Nigeria. Federalism means mind your business. Don't be an olofofo. Don't be an amebo. That's the meaning of federalism. If you don't know, the word federalism is used for diverse people to coexist between a united geopolitical entity. In Russia, we have Chechnya Republic, in Gesta Republic, different republics, Lalo and Russia. To determine their diversity, to reflect their diversity. Why are you not coming around to tell us how we should govern ourselves? It makes no sense. Makes no sense. That's why some people, our brothers in Islam, Southwest Muslims must do better. Why should we Southwest Muslims do better? So that we can be creating Lakuruna terrorism? Is that what you mean by doing better? How are you better than us? You're saying you are better than us. Leave us like this. We are better. Because your place is a messed up place because of religious intolerance. Terrorism. Nigeria is on the terrorist watch list because of your madness. Why are you not coming to bring forth your madness into our space? Nigeria is a poor country because of the madness from your side. That's why I said we need to secularize the Northwest to stop terrorism. We want a united Nigeria, we must secularize it. If they don't agree to secular, then we need to renegotiate this country. If the Northwest, I'm not saying the Northeast or the Northwest, that's the problem. If the Northwest refuses to secularize, then we have to find a solution to this country. Because I understand what I'm talking about. Nigeria is a secular country. Diverse religion, diverse tongue, diverse people. If we continue to treat them with kid glove, one man buy everybody there, we are going to become Mali or Burkina Faso. That's why we need state police. We need to decentralize the grid so that we will recover bomb national grid. Tamanso no kun. Wọ́n lè máa ké lórí Twitter, kò sí tó kan àwa. Àwa máa mú ice cold lolly every day ni. No dolly. You are the one bombing grid. No problem. By the time we decentralize the entire thing, you guys continue to produce children that will be bombing. Look at what they did during that protest. They were looting street lights. They were looting a signboard to police station. All these metal scrapers, scavengers were looting it. That is no problem. Keep it to your region. Don't come and tell us you are more holier than thou than us. The reason why you are promoting Islam is because that is the only thing that unites the Fulani and their conquered Hausa people. That is the bitter truth. That is what unites the Sokoto Caliphate and the Borno Empire. Controlled by the Kanuris. So you need to promote and water that identity. It is a political move. Political move ni. Politics ni ọ̀nà àtijẹ yín ni. Ọ̀nà àtijẹ yín ni. I'm saying this without any fear of apology. Don't nobody promote Yoruba agenda, Yoruba culture, think Yoruba first. Yoruba is the best. Ọ̀nà àtijẹ wa ni o, survival level ni o. Survival level ni o is our politics. So that àwa náà lè máa gbé KKK, ìbò KKK jáde, àwọn máa dìbò lójú kan ni. In Nigeria. It's because so that we are going to be united, so that Yoruba Muslims and Christians will not start killing themselves. That's why we are promoting Yoruba culture. So don't come, you come around and put your mouth into it, you will regret it. Leave us alone. A Yoruba Christian is my brother, not an Igbo Christian. I'm saying it should be humanity first. Okay, we understand. But charity begins at home. You say humanity first. Good. Oyinbo ló sọ bẹ́ẹ̀. Mo gbà. But charity náà sọ pé ilé láti kẹ̀ṣọ́ ròde. My humanity starts when I see my fellow Yoruba Ìṣẹ̀ṣe as my brother, as my fellow Yoruba Christian and Muslim as my brother. That's at home. There is peace at home. Kọ́lọ̀ mọ́ ṣe àwọn bàbá òṣì bàbá àyà tó máa ń dá níta tí wọ́n ń dá nílé anírú wọn fọ̀nfọ̀n mi ní dárúkọ. Wọ́n ti jẹ pọ́ọ̀bù iṣẹ́ dáadáa ní Nàìjíríà. Ìtàlẹ̀ ti rí wọn. There's a problem in Ethiopia. Àwọn ni wọ́n lọ settle jà ń bẹ̀. There's a problem in Kini. They will be the one peacemaker. Bẹ̀ nílé wọ́n ti ba ilé jẹ́. We know them. Ẹ wọ́n dárúkọ anybody o, but we know them. We know them. But we want a peaceful Yoruba land. Yoruba land is my home, Mecca, Medina, and Jerusalem. Ṣé bọ́n bara wọn ní Israel, Jerusalem sí, kí ló kan tèmi ń bẹ. Ṣé èmi ń jàmàlà mò ń jẹwédú? I'm sleeping well every day. Bẹ̀tẹ̀ máa ra ju nǹkan lẹ̀ lóṣòdì, Ọ̀ní Gàngán, Ọ̀yọ́, wọ́n máa kàn mí, wọ́n máa gbà. Family mi lè wà ń bẹ̀. It's not like I'm a citizen of the world. I'm a global citizen. Tó bá sure fún ẹ, global citizen yẹn lọ airport kó sọ pé ó fẹ́ lọ America láì ní visa. Ayé Trump láti ẹ̀wà. Wọ́n á díẹ̀ mẹ́rù bí ẹja kóté ni. Because there's some nonsense. Tẹ́ bá kàn ti gbọ́ nonsense yẹn. Tẹ́ máa ti fún yín speech. Tẹ́ ti lọ àwọn speech aspire to inspire, aspire to aspire. You start misbehaving. This is the multiple. In conclusion, now in reality, we are at a very important crossroad in humanity. Just like Professor Samuel Huntington said, we are in the age of the clash of civilization, where your ethnicities will determine what happens and your race. There is currently a civil war in Sudan. When I mean Sudan, the post Sudan of Omar al-Bashir, between Western Arabs and Eastern Arabs. RSF versus the Sudanese army. RSF is the paramilitary Sudanese army led by General Dagolo, while the Eastern Arabs are the proper Sudanese army. It is a clash between two Arab-speaking blocs in Sudan. Both of them are Muslims. Both of them believe in Sharia law. Both of them believe in Arab supremacy. But there's something fundamental. The Eastern Arabs see the Western Arabs as inferior. The Eastern Arabs see themselves as the purer Arabs, while they see the Western Arabs as Arabized Africans, inferior. That is one of the reasons. There has always been the way the Eastern Arabs see the Western Arabs for the past close to 200 years as inferior people. And that is one of the reasons why that war is going to be bloody, a fight to finish. What am I trying to say? The world has gone ethnic, and everybody is protecting their space. You've seen for the past few years, ethnic minorities in the Middle Belt are coming out to say, we are not Arewa, we are not Northerners. You are going to see some people say, oh, 19 Northern states, blah, blah, blah. But that is, those are rhetorics. But when it comes to politics, we know how Benue, how Plateau, how Taraba, their voting pattern is different. Their voting pattern is different. And we know those places they've embraced Christian civilization as a form of opposition to Arewa. That's the bitter truth. The Christianity in the Middle Belt is different from the Christianity in the Southwest. Southwest Christians are flexing Christians. And when you can lọ church, lọ jó, lọ ṣọmọ, that's what they are. Middle Belt Christians are political Christians. Christianity is like their own identity. They don't even talk about maybe they are Birom or thief. It is Christian first. That's why they voted for Obi. You have to understand that fundamentals. And we are in the age of identity. Because multiculturalism has failed. People like Kemi Badenoch, because it's Badenoch. Kemi Badenoch has integrated into the English-British values. She's a black woman in white she's a white woman in black skin. That's why she's climbing the ladder. Sunak is a white man in Indian skin. Braverman she's a white woman in Indian skin. Want to integrate for people that lived in German-speaking countries in Europe. Before you get their permanent residence, if you bring your wife to join you, that's why táwọn obìnrin yẹn fi máa ń kọ ọkọ wọn sílẹ̀. Táwọn obìnrin yẹn bá ti kọ́kọ́ wá, wọ́n á lọ ṣe integration course. Ṣé mo parọ́ ni? Madam Ajoke Ade. Wọ́n á ti lọ kó sí wọn lórí ńbẹ̀. They will teach them the values of that country. You integrate. That is how multiculturalism worked. But what has happened is, some groups, Somalis, Pakistani, even Jews, they were not integrating into that culture. One can create a parallel society, see? And there is a clash. Clash of culture is a clash of civilization. What is civilization? Civilization is the highest advanced form a culture can attain. It's an advanced culture. We talk about civilization here. In Nigeria, there is a clash of culture. Christianity is a culture on its own, in the real sense of it, because it was used to build empires. Islam also has its own culture. That's why some people are convinced, are confused. That's the time according to Islam, because when you go to Malaysia, that's what the Southeastern countries have done better. Malaysia, Indonesia, they've been able to separate religion from culture. They practice Islam as a religion, not culture. What is separate there? But some of our people, torí owó tán gbà, wọ́n kàn fún wọn lówó kán mọ ẹgbẹ́ kànkan ládùúgbò láti Saudi, wọ́n ti ní mental problem. They cannot separate these things. So them going hard. Some people too, in the name of theology, church theology, they cannot separate that there's a difference between Christianization and Westernization. There's a difference between Arabization and Islamization. I want to put I'm Islamized. They are actually Arabized. You are Arabized. You are just an Arab man in agbada and suit, in agbada and fila. So there's a difference between religion and culture. We must separate it. And what is saving us in the West, the reason why the Southwest is advanced than all geopolitical zones in Nigeria is one thing. We separated religion from the state. Religion does not dictate the state. We are advanced than the rest of Nigeria. I'm sorry to say that in Bopo space. Other places in Nigeria have not been able to do that. They don't know how to do it. You cannot remove, because it's a bitter truth. Because when you promote Hausa culture in the south, in the northwest, then there's going to be a problem. That means you want to separate Fulani people from the Hausa people. When you promote Kanuri culture in the northeast, that means you want to separate the Kanuris from the northwest. So what happens? So their coping mechanism, the cohesive force and the glue that unites them is Islam. So that's why you see Saki. That guy was happening. All those guys, Bashir, that former spokesperson of Buhari, they talk about Islam. That's what they talk about all the time, because it has replaced ethnic identity for them. You as a Yoruba person, sini level one. You are different. You are Yoruba. You are still intact. You are different from them. That's why Ilorin has a problem, has an identity problem. The war in Ilorin is a war between Yoruba culture and Islamic culture. That's the bitter truth. But the Yoruba Muslims in the West have been able to adapt Yoruba as a culture and Islam as a religion. Nobody's going to force you to go and bow Orisha, to go and drive far. Live your life as you want it. But some people be learning as not, there's a confusion. They can't separate it. And they take the big confusion. You are speaking Yoruba fluently. You speak Oyo fluently. But you are scared of Yoruba culture. Why are you scared of Yoruba culture? Are you not Yoruba? And they say, Yoruba culture is Ebo. Why? Don't we have Yoruba Christians? We have Yoruba atheists. So, The world has become a very dangerous place. We live in a state where people will be preaching hatred, Yoruba hatred, full blown, and they still want to become the governor of Lagos State. People like Chinedu Gbadebo, who preaches Igbo nationalism, is trying to now, some people are decoding him. His utterances is full blown anti-Yoruba to the core. Full blown. There's nothing Yoruba about that man. There's nothing Yoruba about that nuisance. There's nothing Yoruba about that nuisance. And that is the kind of a person, people who believe your land is no man's land, are saying, no, let us forget the price of bread. Let us forget about Yoruba. Is it language you go chop? Is it your culture you go chop? Let us look at someone that will deliver. When culture is the fundamental of any society, you alter the culture, you alter the value system, you lose that land. You alter the value. That's why somebody said Ilorin is an Islamic town. He has a reason, because they've tried as much as possible to place Islamic culture above Yoruba culture. It's the culture of a place that determines ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ Yorùbá lélẹ̀ àbí kò ṣẹlẹ̀ Yorùbá. Culture to one Benny. That's why Lagos State government are not listening to our cries. Good economic prosperity is important, but economic prosperity without self-preservation is extinction. It's extinction. You are building nice road, nice this, nice that. Àwọn ẹlòmíì ló máa jogún ẹ̀. Ọmọ tá kọ́ ló máa gbélé tá kọ́tà. You must be conservative, progressive. That's the term. Conservative progressivism. Conservative progressivism. Liberal progressivism in Nigeria is equivalent to extinction. That's why you see small Benin that's not up to 2-3 local governments are rewriting Yoruba history. And some people, because of politics, they will be supporting nonsense. That's why I said history has been weaponized. History has been politicized. They've politicized history. Identity has been politicized. Insecurity has been politicized in Nigeria. Terrorism has been politicized in Nigeria. Religion has been politicized in Nigeria. When you live in that kind of a country, you cannot sleep with your eyes closed. We are not mad people. We think Yoruba first. We are not mad. Everything we said comes to pass. We don't want our children to curse us in our graves. That's why we are crying today, like the voice in the wilderness. Nigeria has happened. They've created this country, but we must survive and uplift Nigeria. No apologies for what I just said. We must survive in Nigeria. No matter what happens in Nigeria, Yoruba land must survive, must live forever. We don't care. Ọ̀run Obama Yabo, but in Yoruba, it must survive. And how do you survive? How does it survive? Your governors must be Yoruba-centric. Awolowo has done the job. It is for us to finish the job. If you don't think in Yoruba, don't come to us and attend our politics. We don't care. Call us anything. Go to Aras TV. Go and shout. It is our fundamental right to exist as Yoruba in our land. We will not be ashamed to be Yoruba in our land. We don't care. You don't care, maybe you sold out and saying, I'm Lagos State indigene. Osun State should not be proclaimed into our affairs. We don't roll like that in Yoruba land. We don't know. We don't have a caste system. All Yorubas are equal. That's what Awolowo did for us. We will be very militant in our Awolowo philosophy. We are not Awolowo that will be speaking English. Awolowo ló sọ Ìgbò táyé wá fi rí báyìí. That's why I love Akintola. I love Akintola. I love that man. May he continue to live him. May God continue to bless him. He will stand on our right. Torí ojú bọ̀rọ̀ kò ṣe gbọmọ lọ́wọ́ èkùrọ́ lọ́wọ́ àwọn gbèrè tó sọ̀rọ̀ ń diwa. Àwọn gbèrè gidi. Ẹran máa jogi. Ẹran máa jèrè. That's the bitter truth.